Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Eyes, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Eyes, Plumpton.
Good evening and a very, very warm welcome to you wherever you may be tuning into this very special episode of the Football Out West Show. It is episode 59 and boy, have we got a lot of action planned for you. It's virtually a coach's corner tonight. So we are looking so forward to this and bringing it to you as he does every week alongside me, the man, the legend, the myth, Craig Filer. Craig, a very, very good evening to you. And how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, Tonci. Good evening, listeners. Hope everybody's well. Yes, I'm well, mate. It's been a very busy weekend of football, as it seems to be every weekend now.
How glorious was the weather to accompany the football, mate?
Yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it? To be wearing short sleeve shirts yesterday afternoon was something. Said to my wife this morning, how nice would it be if Melbourne was this weather all year long? But like it was today, it was bloody fantastic.
Absolutely. Now, it all started on Friday night, the big Melbourne Knights versus Eastern Lions game, the NPL clash.
It did.
You were there alongside our man Steve Curtin. And Steve hopefully will be joining us a little bit later on this evening as well. And we'll be talking in depth about that. And you're a very busy bee getting some footage prior to the game and also post-game. So we'll be watching that a little bit later on as well. But, mate, good to have you on board. A big shout-out to our major sponsor, George Cross Football Club, who have really, really helped us a lot this year. To all of our members as well out there. But, mate, we're not going to say too much, but we're very, very excited because we've got a major, major announcement to be made in the coming weeks. Sponsorship announcement as well, which we're finalising it. But pretty exciting stuff, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah, it is. It's a great coup for us. If we can get it over the line, which I think we are. So just a couple of things to sort out, but hopefully the next 2 to 3 weeks we should be able to announce it. May give you a couple of snippets over the next week or so, just to get you excited.
Yeah. Now, also, it is an historic show tonight because it is the first time that we're actually going to be simulcasting on multiple platforms. So tonight, not only are we obviously here on the Football Out West News Facebook page and our sister program, the Geelong Region Soccer News Facebook page, we're also on the Community Sports Media Services Facebook page, but even better, on our exclusive YouTube channel. So that is the Football Out West Show YouTube channel. And as we speak now, there are people on there as well. So if you're on the YouTube channel, if you are on our Facebook channel, drop us some comments. We'd love to hear from you all. Santino Mamone, who's one of our regular listeners, I'm going to have a big shout out to this man because he is a mad Melbourne Victory supporter. But guess what? Tonight, he said, I would rather watch you guys than watch the Victory. So, Santino,
I'd rather watch paint dry than watch Melbourne Victory.
Legend. But it's all culminating overseas, mate. Lots of the leagues are now reaching their final stages, so lots happening there overseas. But we're going to focus all on here and now, and we'll be looking at all of the stuff that is going on locally here in Victoria, and predominantly concerning all of our western suburbs clubs. So, mate, let's get into it straight away. Shall we? Well, you bring us into the equation. Let's talk about Friday night and the NPL.
Yeah, myself and our colleague Steve, who's just messaged me saying he's having a few problems with his laptop, but he should be on. He should be on soon. But myself and Steve were lucky enough to co-commentate the Melbourne Knights Eastern Lions game at Knight Stadium, Tonci, which was a different type of affair. I think Eastern Lions were very good for their win. I think we'll hear from both coaches later on. I'm lucky enough to get hold of both of them after the game. But an interesting game of football. But for the rest of the results from the weekend, we had Melbourne Knights losing at home to Eastern Lions 2-1. Green Gully 2-0 up against Dandenong Thunder, ended up coming back with a 2-2 draw. We've got Dandenong City losing at home to Port Melbourne Sharks. Oakley Cannons in the same result at home to Hume City. Magic, who were down to 10 men, were held to a 1-1 draw against St Albans. South Melbourne and Bentley Greens, the same score, 1-1. And I believe Heidelberg United and Avondale, who kicked off this afternoon at 3 o'clock, also finished in a 1-1 draw. So I'm not sure whether the league ladder is current. That's from the weekend.
Yeah, that's the ladder that's taken from the Football Victoria website. So it doesn't take into account the Altona Magic and St Albans game from last night, nor does it take into account the Heidelberg Avondale FC game. But Steve Curtin joins us. It's great to have you on the show, Steve. He's in the background. How are you, mate?
Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. I've had to just about tape myself together and tape my computers together, but I think we're up and running here. So fingers crossed we'll stay here for the duration. But thanks for your patience while we got things sorted out here.
Now, Steve, we're talking about Friday night's game. So give us your version of events with the Melbourne Knights and the Eastern Lions game. Eastern Lions recording, what was, I guess, an unexpected victory for many fans. Melbourne Knights, the second loss in a row. They've slipped to a mid-table position, but how did you see it from your commentary position?
Yeah, well, it was a fascinating watch for me and Craig up there in the tower. Great view of what was going on, and I guess it was one of these games where the Eastern Lions they set out with a very specific plan, what they were trying to execute, and the key to that was Christopher Drutz's goal in the first half, which then allowed them to sit with more players behind the ball and play a little bit on the break. But it was that turnover that was the Knights' worst enemy that caused them to concede that goal. That was the decisive moment in the game for me. Although both teams did score again in the second half, that was the one that set the tone for the evening.
Yeah. So similarly, that night, Green Gully drew 2-2 with Dandenong Thunder. Now, Craig, we are going to be speaking with the Green Gully captain a little later on in the show. Is that right?
Yeah, he is. Jeremy Walker's going to join us just after 8 o'clock to talk about Green Gully. They're going through a bit of a tough time at the moment, Tonci. I think they don't seem to be able to keep the lead. They get up in games but then can't seem to keep hold of these. So we'll try and find off Jez Walker what's going on behind the scenes there at Green Gully Reserve.
Now, you caught up with Melbourne Knights coach Steve Bebic after the game, and here's a short snippet of that interview.
Yeah, pleased to be alongside Steve Bebic. Although I'm not sure he's very happy to be here. Steve, how do you sum up that first of all the result, and secondly the performance from you boys tonight?
Yeah, firstly, obviously the result. Disappointed not to come away with anything tonight. Especially worked our way to get back into the game like that, and then cop on at the end. Obviously, bitterly disappointed. In terms of the performance, I think the intent was there. I think we played very well. For a large portion of that game, I thought we created enough chances, maybe to win 2 or 3 games tonight. Execution at the end wasn't there, and something we'll work on and we'll move forward.
Yeah, look, in the first half, certainly Eastern Lions made it very difficult for you to play, I suppose, your game, which is getting it through the middle, through the lines, and then getting it in behind the back four. The balls that were being played in were back four really weren't getting there. Defence was very strong. They were very well organised in the first half. What did he say to them at half time? Because from the commentary position, we thought that it might be the hairdryer treatment at half time, and certainly came out a certainly better side in the second half to what you were in the first.
Yeah, look, I think it's the hardest thing in football, breaking down organised defences, obviously, as you know. So, and full credit to Eastern Lions, and we knew that coming into it that they are organised without the ball, and sort of they look to play on the counter, and that's their strengths, which they're doing well, I think, this year. In terms of blow dry or anything like that, it wasn't so much that. It was just a case of just reinforcing what the plan was, reinforcing what we weren't doing well, the ball speed and things like that, finding little pockets, stretching the defence, and I think it was better in the second half. But I think in the first half too, there were moments there where we got in behind and we created little chances. Just about that final decision.
Yeah, and obviously there was a chance that was a glaring opportunity. I think of Mikulek in the second half there that 5 metres out and somehow managed to. They're the very fine margins, aren't they, between winning and losing a game?
Yeah, no doubt they are the fine margins.
Yeah,
in football.
we've seen a couple of times that in football. We've been here. We were talking. We were up here at Altona Magic. It was a very similar game, but obviously. Two defeats now on the bounce after last week. What do you say to the boys now after the game? Is it keep that positive? Keep it positive. You're not down the bottom. You're still in with a shout. You've been playing some good football. Is it just keep that momentum and keep the drive going with the players?
Yeah, look, definitely. Obviously, there's things we need to work on, and that final bit of quality in the final third is one of it. And I think we've seen that throughout. I think the first half of the year, now we've played everyone. There's been games we've come away maybe winning by a goal, but there should have been 2, 3 or 4 even. Yeah. So it's just something we're going to continue to work on. It's a young group. They'll get better. We know where we're at as a group, but these are the type of games you learn from as a group, as individuals, and we just have to improve and just go back on the training track, and that's where you do it and get that confidence back.
And I'm sure you will, mate. So listen, thanks very much for joining us. Bitterly disappointing night for you, but all the best for the second half of the season.
Cheers.
All right,
Cheers,
thanks, Steve.
We've lost a photo of Craig there. I don't know where he's gone. Hello, Craig. Yeah, don't know what's happened with your image. Nonetheless, there he is. He's back now.
There he is.
Craig, you interviewed him. Very, very calm fella, isn't he? He's a very cool, calm, collected person.
He's a very good guy to.
The 3 C's.
Yeah, not what you'd normally associate with fiery Croats, isn't that right? But no, all jokes aside, he's already turned his attention to next week, and next week they take on the Port Melbourne Sharks. But was it just a case of there's some good players in that side? Craig, are they just not gelling, or is it just too many personnel changes in the last few weeks, or is it the injuries that are taking its toll?
Yeah, look, I think it's probably a mixture of both. Tonci, from all of those things, I think, Steve. They've got a few injuries without doubt. They miss the likes of Alan Webb up front, who, I think Steve said in commentary, I think he scored 5 goals, but has only played in 2 or 3 real games. He seems to be in and out, and I think they miss his urgency at the top of the park. You've got Trevor Zvetslut, who actually came on and played as a 10, and he's predominantly a centre back. Steve, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. That surprised us a little bit there when he came into the midfield and then in the advanced midfield role as well. So. But he looked at home there. That was okay, I suppose. But also missing Matthew Breeze, who has that ability to come off the bench and change a game as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, particularly Alan Webb, like the top scorer this season. And he's the reason why their home form has been so good. I would have to say that he's converted the chances, and it is at the end of the day a game of small margins. Fortunately, Albano was able to find the goal that on another day would have been enough to get a share of the points, at least after a difficult time against a team playing a deep lying sort of 4-5-1, and of course that freakish finish by Ryan Losty ensured that that Eastern Lions got all the points.
We just lost Craig there for a second, but I think he's about to rejoin us now.
Here he comes.
Here he comes. No, he doesn't.
No.
Oh, it's the
There's some gremlins tonight, mate.
Yeah, the point cook issues nonetheless. Okay. Whilst on the subject of Craig did catch up with Eastern Lions coach Daniel Costi also during the night. So here's some video footage of that.
Yep.
Good evening. Welcome to Football Out West show tonight. We're bringing you from Knight Stadium for the NPL Round 13 clash between Melbourne Knights and Eastern Lions. Been very lucky to be joined by Eastern Lions coach Daniel Costi, who's taken some time out to have a quick chat before he addresses his team before the big game tonight. Thanks for coming in, Daniel.
Always a pleasure, Craig, man. My pleasure.
So just want to have a quick chat with you. Obviously, a first-year NPL coach, taking over from the late great Jimmy Williams at the start of the season. How have you find the step up coming from State League NPL 2 into NPL? What's the main differences?
Look, it was a big step. Unfortunately, given the circumstances of Jimmy passing away, he was a great mentor to me. He is the one that brought me over from Ashburton, and he worked with me very closely. He taught me a lot of things, and then he was confident enough when in the last months of his life that I can continue the work that he's done it for 13, 14 years at Eastern Lions. So I will always be grateful having someone like him in my life to teach me, to make me a better person and a better coach, I think.
Yeah, and Jim, as you said, he was with the club for a long time, really established the football club from the early days, bringing him through the ranks and obviously bringing him into NPL a few seasons ago. So for me, and just for some of the listeners who perhaps listen, from abroad, what's the main differences you think from an NPL to NPL 3 or even State League football coming into NPL? What's the main differences?
Look, obviously the quality of the players. There are very good players in State 4, but they're only training once a week, twice a week. So up there, you probably need to be a bit more of a manager, game management, than focus on the training session as much as you do in the NPL 1 and 2, where you have to be very prepared. You spend a lot of time analyzing your opponents, a lot of video analysis, instats. You work really close with players. It's totally different, but you got a bigger staff, which is it's easier. You got 2 assistant coaches, physios, where in state leagues you probably don't have anyone. You rock up, you set up everything, you do the talk, you do everything. Yeah. Where here you're fortunate enough to have a club that provided us with.
And I think that was the extent of the interview. Oh, we've lost Steve now. We seem to be losing everyone. They're taking it in turns. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Rightio. So that was a short interview that we had, and that was the pre-game interview. But an interesting thing, Craig, how he describes just the difference between the NPL 2 and the NPL 1 competition. And I guess Friday night was a good example. Like sometimes you've got to use tactics that aren't exactly attractive football, if you like, but it has to be at that level. They're talking about results, and that's one of the key things. And sometimes a coach has to be daring and bold to undertake those type of tactics, but the players also need to be very disciplined. And it was a very disciplined performance from the Lions, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, Tonci. They were I have to say, they were very, very well organised. Dan's come in, as we said there, as he said in the commentary, that his first year coach. Just 2 seasons ago, Dan was in State League 4 at Ashburton, and has worked his way up to assist him with the late great Jimmy Williams, and has now been given the opportunity to lead Eastern Lions. And they had a fantastically well set up squad. They made it very, very difficult for Melbourne Knights to play their normal game, just by having players behind the ball and trying to counter on the counter attack with their quick players against. I said in commentary, I don't believe that Melbourne Knights are particularly quick at the back, and I think teams that can look at that and change things and maybe put some emphasis on that, they will certainly catch Knights out. But look, Eastern Lions were very, very good value for their win. And it was a fantastic finish. I mean, if anybody hasn't seen the strike, if you're going to win a game, it's one hell of a strike to win a football match. And last couple of minutes of the game, and they get the 3 points, which was huge for them. If you look at the table that we're seeing at the moment, that win of 3 points, gives a little bit of daylight between them and St Albans.
It does indeed. Well, let's look at next week's fixtures. Friday night is going to be a feast of football in the West when the Melbourne Knights take on Port Melbourne Sharks. So it is the 7th versus 8th place teams. That's going to be at Knights Stadium at 7:30 p.m. Craig, are you and Steve got the gig for that?
For Knights, no, we're not. I believe we're going to be doing the Green Gully game next week. Green Gully.
All right, let's talk about that. And Green Gully taking on St Albans. That would have to be next door, the next door neighbour derby. What else could you describe that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's going to be happening. Well, at Green Gully Reserve from 8 p.m. So they should have staggered it, shouldn't they? Should have had one game at 7:30, one game at 8:30, but nonetheless. It's all going to be on NPL Victoria Live, both on the Facebook channel and the YouTube channel. So 2 important games. I mean, Green Gully now have dropped to 9th and St Albans are on 12th. But look, St Albans, after that win by Eastern Lions, will be very, very keen to start getting some more points. They did get a point against Altona Magic overnight, but it's not enough, is it?
No, it's not. But they're still in with a chance. They're only 6 points behind Dandenong Thunder. And only 3 points ahead of Altona Magic, who are rooted to the bottom there. So look, as the when they play said Stefan Barasic came on the other week. They're together. They know what they've got to do. They know where they are and what it's going to take to get them out. And I'm sure. With Bruno there, who's a very experienced and wily coach, they'll be very, very well organised and difficult to beat.
The other games in NPL Victoria action next week. Dandenong City taking on Dandenong Thunder in the Dandenong Derby. Oakley Cannons.
How many times can you get Dandenong in one sentence?
Yeah, I know. I tell you what. Is it at Dandenong Stadium? No, it's at Frank Holohan Complex, but nonetheless. Also Friday night, Oakley Cannons hosting Avondale. Then on Saturday, we've got the Bentley Greens up against Eastern Lions for fans in the western suburbs. Altona Magic hosting Hume City at Paisley Park Saturday night. And then South Melbourne taking on Heidelberg United, the big traditional Greek derby at Lakeside Stadium. Just you'd expect a massive crowd for that one. But that's going to be a good one. Should be great. Now let's turn our attention to NPL 2. We are moments away from talking to the coach of the North Geelong Warriors, Stuart Begg. So hold on to your horses, folks. We'll be dissecting that game that was held just yesterday at Alco Park. But Craig, have you got the results there? Did you want to go through the other results in NPL 2 played yesterday?
Yes, Tonci. Just give me 1 second. The results from yesterday, NPL 2. What's going on? Right, here we go. Moreland City, 5-1 winners against Manningham United Blues up at Campbell Reserve. Northcote losing 1-2 at home to Pascotville in what was a very good fast game. I was speaking to Dean Strafase, the referee of that game this afternoon, and he said it was a fantastic game to watch. The Langwarren Kingston results still not in, but I believe the score was 0-0.
It was indeed, mate. It was indeed.
0-0,
So what that does to the ladder, as you can see, is Kingston City now move up to second spot or equal second spot with 16 points. So it's quite amazing. 3 points separates first and fifth. So that's quite an interesting result there. Goulburn Valley had a gilt-edged opportunity to go basically near the top after Brunswick City dropped points, but Goulburn also dropped points, Craig.
Yeah, Goulburn is a bit of a shock one for me, that one, losing to Moreland Zebras, because they're very strong at home. GVS, or North Geelong were there the other week, and we'll speak to Steve Bebic about that when he comes on, but they're probably one of the best sides I've seen in this division this season. And of course, FC Bulleen take on Werribee in their normal Monday night fixture.
Yeah, Steve, we've got your back, have we?
We do indeed. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
assuming you can hear me loud and clear. I think we should be okay from now on.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, we're going to go through the fixtures, Steve, but whilst we're doing that, Craig's going to hop off and he's going to get Stuart Begg. Is that right, Craig?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll let Craig step away from the microphone. We're going to go through the fixtures now or the round 10 fixtures for NPL 2, and that all starts on Friday night at CB Smith Reserve, the Battle of the Co-Tenants. Pascoe Vale taking on the Moreland Zebras, Steve. Should be a good game, that one, even though Pascoe Vale obviously second, Zebras are eighth. But, it's almost a derby of sorts. So form book usually goes out the window in these situations, don't they?
That's right, mate. Local bragging rights at stake. So you can throw the ladder out the window and just it'll come down to the 22 players that take the field there to see who can get over the line and get those 3 points. On Saturday, also in NPL 2, Moreland City, they're at home again, hosting the Bulleen Lions. North Geelong Warriors are hosting the Manningham United Blues. Brunswick City hosting Lang Warren. That should be a beauty. Golden Valley Suns host Werribee City in the later kickoff time of 4 o'clock. And then on Sunday evening at 6:15, it's Kingston City against Northcote City, and that is a wrap for the upcoming fixtures in round 10 of NPL 2. So we're approaching the halfway mark.
An awful time to have a kickoff, 6:15. Well, that encroaches on our show, doesn't it, Steve? So we're unable to give you an update.
Yeah, the entire second half is played during our show.
Yeah, exactly. Not to worry. Guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break. When we return, then we're going to have the coach of the North Geelong Warriors effectively making his first public appearance, Stuart Begg. Don't go away.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, a baptism, communion or confirmation? Whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's all about the coaches, I guess, so far. And then our next coach, Craig, who's our next one? Who's going to be our next guest?
Yes, Tom. So we're going to get on the show this evening Stuart Begg, who's recently appointed new senior head coach down at North Geelong Warriors. Welcome to the show, Stu.
Hello, Stuart. Are you there?
We're good. Hello, Stu. Can you hear us?
Have you pressed the button?
Yeah, we're all good to go this end.
You're good at pressing buttons.
You can hear me. You can't hear the others, can you?
No.
Do you know what? Technology is wonderful, isn't it?
It is. Seems to be the case, yeah. Hello? No. Steve, have we lost Craig as well?
Well, now I can't hear Craig either. Yeah. So
thank goodness it's not on my end.
Maybe Stuart and Craig will have to have a little chat behind the scenes and then report back to us as to what their findings are on their discussion. But there's the table again on your screen there. Brunswick City, they're the league leaders, and pretty good result for North Geelong, getting a point at home against Brunswick City on the weekend, you have to say, Tonci.
They are in form. Last week they came up against second placed Kingston City away, and that was that Sunday night game. And they ended up winning that 2-1 in an absolute thriller. They held Brunswick City to a 1-1 draw. Mind you, though, I think for 75 minutes of the game. the 75 minutes of the game, they were actually doing really, really well. So they were on top of things. But, unfortunately, for whatever reason, and hopefully we'll find out now, they just weren't able to last out the distance. Craig is back on. I think we're going to try now and get Craig. Craig, you're there.
I'm here. I can hear you perfect. Stu, can you hear us? No. Seems to be a problem with the sound again tonight, mate. I don't know.
Have we got Stuart Begg, the North Geelong Warriors senior men's coach, on the line?
I can hear you, Tonci. Can you hear me?
Hey, we can finally hear you. Hello. It's great. It's great to have you on board, mate. Finally, we thought the Gremlins were really just working against us. But I mean, we were meant to have you on the Geelong Region Soccer Show. What was it, last week? But unfortunately, we weren't able to have you. We had your captain Ryan Opperman take your place. I'll tell you what, he did a sterling job off the bench. He did absolutely well. He conducted himself admirably. But it's all about you, mate, tonight. Tell us about yesterday's game. The Warriors were leading, up until about the 73rd minute, was it, or something like that?
Yeah, look, we were leading. I think we got a goal about the 65th minute or something like that, and then we conceded, I think, about the 79th minute or something. So, yeah, It was a tough contest. First half could have gone either way as well. Probably, to be honest, I think Brunswick knocked the ball around very well, probably the best side we played. You can see why they're top and how they apply themselves on game day. But yeah, we, scored a goal. Wasn't really, I'd say, against a runner player or anything like that. I think we created some great chances and we finally put one away with a stunning strike from Yuji from about 30 yards out. So, and then, just couldn't hold out. And out of all things, we considered it as an own goal. So, is what it is, I guess, for that.
Okay. Steve?
Stuart, thanks for joining us tonight. How have you been able to work with the squad so far? Have you had enough time to start to implement your own philosophy in the last couple of weeks and your tactics over the last couple of games that you've played?
Not really, to be honest. My main focus really coming into it was the first thing was defence. I mean, we conceded, I think, 11 goals in 3 games. And the first thing I said to the guys was that ultimately we just got to get a defensive structure right, make sure we defend well from the front all the way back to the defence. And that's all our focus really has been over the past 2 weeks. Nothing else really. Obviously, you try to work on a little bit leading into the game, maybe who you're playing against, but every session has been based on how we defend. So to concede a goal via penalty and an own goal so far, it's worked out quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Craig.
Sorry. Stu. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased on it because we speak on a regular basis, probably too much, but we do. Obviously, you've come in, mate. You've been the assistant there for a while now, and obviously getting an opportunity at the big gig. We know it's a tough job. We know anybody that comes into the North Geelong hot sheet is going to be under the pump. But how have the boys reacted to you coming in? What have you had to do differently to get the boys in a way that you want them to play? And I know Steve just touched on that, but how have you impacted your thoughts and processes on the players early on?
Well, to be honest, to be given the job, I mean, I've known the boys since Kuti got me in 2019. Knew some of the boys anyway. So when, obviously what happened the last couple of weeks, my main focus, like I said, was defensive structure and everything like that. But to get them to get them moving, really I've just got to get them enjoying football again as much as I can and identify what our best features of our team are, which is the intensity of how we play, especially up high. That's how we defend. We defend from the front. To come in and have a different sort of role, the players they understand. They're not silly. They don't have to treat me any differently. I was already treated quite well from them anyway as an assistant coach, and they respected me for what my job was there. So nothing really has changed in that avenue, you know. So end of the day, we all know what we need to do, and we're all committed to the cause to move forward.
Now, speaking of the cause and committed to going forward, Stuart, on last Monday's Geelong Region Soccer Show, President of the club, John Didlitzer, conceded that for a club like North Geelong, it's always going to be hard to try and match, financially speaking, trying to attract some of the best players that some of the Melbourne clubs are able to do so. So I guess it's taken quite a few years, but it finally has come to fruition that a large part of the Warriors senior squad is now made up of locally produced players. I mean, and you're a locally produced coach, I guess that's the case. You must be very, very happy with the way a lot of the younger players are coming up through the ranks and doing exceptionally well at senior level. I mean, there's a handful of teenagers in that squad. Who are some of the players that have really, really impressed you?
Oh, geez. In all honesty, the whole side is a young side. People forget that. People look at like a Ryan Offerman and Anthony Baghdad as veterans. You know, they're still young themselves.
26 and 27, aren't they?
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole squad. Yeah. So, I mean, they're all growing together. And you know, they're learning off each other. And the young guys that are coming in, they're really young guys. I mean, Lucas Goko has probably sort of come out of his shell this year, which has been really good. He was already on his way out. I think in 2019 he played his first senior game under James Coots. I think it was the last game of the season. You know, so he's really starting to shine now. Then you've got like LJ up top. He's a young kid. He probably, you know, I think he got called a veteran from one commentator up at GV. So,
you got called a fridge by another commentator too.
Yeah. So, like,
you would know what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. So, and then we had on the bench yesterday. We had Danny Serra come off the bench. He's another young kid. He's done extremely well this year. With Mitch Stosich on the bench as well. He was didn't get on, but he was on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So the squad itself, yes, is full of kids, but they're all kids to a certain point. So you've also got to understand that as well. We don't have, you know, some of the experience like some of the other clubs do, like, you know, 32, 34-year-old veterans who, you know, been around the scene for a long time. But look, I'm a big believer about youth, and that if you're good enough, you're old enough. But we're also we're not silly just by throwing kids into the deep end. We will understand where they're at, and we'll bring them in when the time's right. And we back their ability regardless of whether they're starting or whether they're off the bench, no matter what. And we've got guys like Oppie and Banner and Hamish and Cosi who can, you know, let them come through the system, the young kids, and actually get around them and support them as much as they can.
Now, Stewie, the side is sitting, we'll say mid-table at the moment. Is there any objective that the club is hoping to aspire to this season? And if so, is there any likelihood of bringing in any extra bodies into the squad to help you get there?
Well, look, with the you know, expectations of the club, you know, we want to stay in the league as much as we can. You know, that's the first objective. We'll push as high as we can. That's always an objective of the club. You know, if you push a promotion, then great, we'll go for it. But the league, I think we're on 10 points, and I think we're only 2 games away from second or something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's a very congested league, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really close, which is, again, what we expected with the quality of that team that's in there. I mean, I think Brunswick were trying to run away with it, and they've sort of been dragged back in again. So it's, you know, and every single game is against tough opposition, regardless whether you might be playing the bottom side or mid-table side, or even the top side. They're all, you know, quality sides that are going to give you tests and challenges. You know, so as an objective for us coming in, we just want to get points on the board and see, you know, push as high as we can. That's, you know, and the cliche of one game at a time, it literally is, we're not focusing on anything further than the next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So points will come as we play.
Now, Stu, from your point of view and your staff there within the senior team there, tell us a little bit about your new assistant to Coach Adrian Bates that's come into the fold this week. Obviously, Adrian's been at the club before, but just tell a little bit of the listeners about who he is and what his expectations are for you.
Well, look, as soon as the opportunity came for myself, I knew who I sort of wanted to bring in. I've worked with Adrian on a couple of occasions. I think when I was under 20s, he was under 18s, and the COVID year, he was a 21s or 20s coach then. So look, he knows the majority of the people at the club, and I know him quite well. And I really much value his opinion on the game. He's probably got one of the best minds technically to watch a game and analyse what's happening in real time, and understands ways of, adapting to other teams or where we can hurt teams. And I knew someone like him coming in would be a value to us as a group, and not in just the seniors, anyone else below us. And he's not going to be one that's going to sit there and just listen to me talk. He will throw ideas at me. I'll listen, and I value his opinion so much. So for him to come in, he's a massive asset for us. And I think yesterday, all three coaches, myself, goalkeeping coach, as in Chugs, and Adrian, I think we work very well together and all on the same page, and that helps the players, especially on game day when all the same messages are coming out from the coaches and clear instructions. It helps. So age is a massive asset for us, and he showed yesterday.
Yeah. Now, Stuart, you did say how you're focused on 1 week at a time, and regardless of where that team is positioned. Now, the last 2 weeks you've taken on the second place team one, taken on a top team and drawn, and probably unlucky to get a victory there as well. Next week it's Manningham United Blues, firmly entrenched to the bottom of the ladder. They lost to the Moreland City 5-1 this weekend. Obviously, it's a game that you kind of expect that they, on paper, that North should win. But what are you going to do? Is there anything that any tactic you're going to employ to ensure that the players don't get too complacent?
Yeah, go on. Tell the Manningham coaches what you're going to do, Steve.
Oh, shut up. Yeah.
Well,
is he going to get the stick out and he's going to corporal punishment, that sort of stuff,
Look, let's be honest, and Manningham drew with Brunswick last week. So let's just look at that for a minute. And that's Brunswick we just played, who are probably the best team in the comp, in my opinion, from the way they move.
And they played with 10 players most of that game yesterday as well, Manningham.
Yeah. So in my eyes, I don't care that they're bottom, and I don't care that Brunswick's top. We'll apply ourselves every game exactly the same way. We will plan. We'll prepare ourselves in the same manner, regardless of who we're playing. And that's how we go about week to week.
And all jokes aside, that is a very, very good observation there. That on any given day, any team in that league could trouble whoever it is, and Brunswick City have certainly experienced that on the last two occasions. But Stuart, we're going to probably have to leave you there. Gents, any other questions? But
yes, no, I'm good.
No.
Happy to leave it there.
We'll go. Stuart, all the very best for not just next Saturday, but the rest of the season. It's great to see locally produced, homegrown coaches coming up through the ranks, as is the case with the players. And certainly we wish you all the very best for the season ahead.
Cheers, gents. Have a good one.
Thanks, Stewie.
Stuart Begg, the coach of the North Geelong Warriors Seniors Men's. Gents, let's now move our attention, and we're going to go to the NPL 3 competition. Let's go quickly through the results here, and let's look at the ladder, and let's look at the results. In the meantime, Craig, you're going to jump off set, and you're going to get a hold of our next guest, correct?
That's correct, yeah. I'm going to get hold of Louie Acevski from Preston Lions.
Let's fingers crossed that everything goes well on there. But in the meantime, Steve and I, we're going to look at the results in round 9. And
let's do it.
Let's take it away.
So it started on Friday night at Preston, and Preston Lions getting a dramatic 2-1 win over the Whittlesea Rangers with their Englishman Poole scoring the winning goal in, I think, about the 94th minute to send another huge home crowd into a frenzy, as we saw footage of yesterday. And
now we'll play a little bit of that footage later on when we have Louie Acevski on. But
we'll save it up.
We'll save it for then, and we'll talk a little bit more about that game. The Box Hill United North Sunshine game ended up in a 4-2 thumping for Box Hill, I guess. That was
good result for Box Hill. Yeah,
Larissa Reserve. Michael Long's Nunawading City took on Western United. How did they go in that game?
Well, this was the game that Michael Long couldn't lose because he supports both teams, and Western United's squad prevailed 3-2 in that one. So a nice high scorer there for the neutrals. I hope Michael Long cheered all 5 goals in that game.
Yeah, now at the at the Serbian Sports Centre in Keysborough, Springvale White Eagles had their colours lowered to Geelong Soccer Club, who captured all 3 points, winning 2-0 on that occasion. And Doveton then played Melbourne Victory. This was today. Oh, no, this was yesterday, actually, at Waratah Reserve. What was the score of that game?
So Doveton got up 2-1 over the Melbourne Victory Academy group there. So good win for Doveton, who've been pretty good so far this season.
They have indeed. And tonight, Melbourne City taking on Ballarat City down at Casey Fields. So obviously that is a game that we don't know the outcome of the score as yet, but it is.
Yeah, it's in progress now. Or just be nearly finished, actually. So we'll see if we can get a score for you in that one. And if anyone happens to be down at Casey Fields now, please send in your scores.
Yeah. Now, that ladder that we see on the screen doesn't take into account the Doveton game. So Doveton are in 3rd spot. They've got 18 points. So Preston on 23, Western United on 19, Doveton on 18. Melbourne City, they could jump to as high as 2nd spot on the ladder if they can defeat Ballarat City, and you'd expect them, Steve, wouldn't you? I mean, Ballarat City are firmly entrenched on the bottom.
Yeah, I think they'll be trying to back up the senior side's Premier's Plate win last night with another win there, I think, today in that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, we'll before we look at the fixtures for next week, Craig rejoins us, and have we got Louie Acevski on the line?
Fingers crossed, he's there and waiting for us. Lou, are you with us?
I'm here, gents.
Nice.
Good evening. How are we?
Perfect.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good.
Thanks for joining us on a Sunday evening. I'm sure you've got better things to be doing. My Kitchen Rules or The Apprentice, something like that, mate. But for 5 minutes, if you could just tear yourself away from that TV, that would be great.
No, not a problem. I can give you the quick score update. Melbourne City was leading 5-0 with about 20 minutes to go as well. So
5-0. Hey, how's that for a trip tonight from Ballarat down to Casey Fields on a Sunday evening for a 6 o'clock kickoff? Hey?
Yeah, that's just mean, isn't it, really?
Oh, shocking.
Incredible.
Shocking.
Now, Lou, welcome to the Football Out West show. It's Tonci here. Good to have you on the line. Mate, it was a frenetic, it was a phenomenal, it was a fantastic finish to the game on Friday night, I should say. We've got a little bit of footage, so we're going to play that here, and hopefully we might even have the audio. Now it's just before the big goal. Take us through this, the emotions on the field when it happened.
Yeah, look, obviously the ball came into our defensive line. We got it out wide. Went to young Nathan Talevski out on the wing down the left-hand side. He put a ball into the box, and James Poole just took one step sort of to his left and just hit it first time volley, and basically there was no chance the goalkeeper was going to make that save. So
that's an outstanding finish, by the way.
What's that?
That's an outstanding finish.
Yeah, look, James Poole, for the people that don't know him, Poole, he's got a lot of his credentials are massive and huge, where he's come from the UK and what he's done and what he's produced out there. So, to be honest, I wouldn't expect anything less from Poole if something like that came across his way on a match day. So he's a quality footballer. But look, yeah, emotions, it was personal emotions, a little bit frustrating just for us to finish Whittlesea off with so many decent opportunities prior to that. But obviously, the boys were ecstatic, and I was just so relieved for them to score that winner, because they deserve nothing but the 3 points on that night.
Now, mate, sorry, Steve, you go ahead. Sorry.
Lou, it's Steve here. Thanks again for joining us tonight. How much of a difference do you think that passionate and parochial home crowd that you've been getting of around 3,000 people per game makes a difference to the players out in the field? And what's it like to be there in person to experience this incredible atmosphere?
It makes a huge difference. I know that when we go play away and if there's not that many supporters, it's a completely different feeling. When we're playing at home at Genesville Stadium, and as you said, we get the 3,000 people, 2.5, 3.5, whatever that might be. I'm obviously on the coach's bench on the other side of the ground, but you can hear the chanting, the singing clearly. To this day, every game I get goosebumps just listening to the boys chanting and supporting us, and that's why we play this game, or that's why we're involved in this game, because I wouldn't want it any other way, and that's one of the reasons why I am at Preston, and the club is so successful at the moment and moving in the right direction is because of the supporters. They're just unbelievable.
Now, you've been at the club for a number of years now, Lou, and it's been obviously the first couple of seasons in State League One. It was bit by bit getting the club ready for a good stab at NPL, and you got promoted. Obviously, sitting at top of the poll for the season as we stand, and it certainly looks as if it's going to be between you and Western United. What's the plans there for the club? Obviously, with the discussions around the second division, is that with all the ground enhancements and obviously the new clubhouse that's going to be erected and all the work that you guys did in pre-season to get ready for this year, is the plan long term to get into that B League and be one of those 12, 16, 18, 20 clubs that's going to be there?
Yeah, look, I think I was about 5 years ago, I went back to the club, and we were sitting in State League One, and there was a vision, an ambition, a 5-year plan to get the club into the highest league of football or standard possible, as quick as possible. And then once the second division talks begun, and so a few rumours were murmured, and people talking about it, we're definitely will put our hand up for the second division. With, as you just said, with the social club, brand new change rooms, the facility itself, the lights, the upgrade of the whole complex. And again, we keep touching on this 2.5, 3,000, 3,500 people. I think we're the only club outside of the A-League that's in Australia currently getting those numbers. So as much as we want to be in that second division, I think Australian football needs Preston in that second division, just to enhance the reputation and the support base and the environment, the atmosphere, the excitement. It's a club that needs to be part of it.
When you think of it, Lou, you're in the fourth tier of Australian football within, with the A-League, and then obviously the 3 NPL clubs in Victoria. And with the greatest respect, you're getting 1,000 more than some clubs are getting in the A-League. So it shows you that the passion's there from the club, the support base is there from the club. Why wouldn't the Football Federation of Australia have a Preston Lions in that B League?
Well, for me, I don't think there's any reason for them not to have a league. That's a bit biased, but no. Look, you put, we're talking about, many years ago, the FFA wanted to remove the old National Soccer League and start a new league, and they've done that, etc. A-League started, like a house on fire, and there's a lot of crowds going, etc. But it's died off. And I'm not about going to the past and talking about the ethnicity or anything like that, but I am talking about clubs with a lot of culture, a lot of history, a lot of backing, Just in Victoria, we could talk about the Melbourne Knights, the South Melbournes, the Heidelbergs. These clubs here, they need to be a part of a B League. Your Sydney United, your Sydney Olympics in Sydney, etc. They've got the support base. So could you imagine a derby every week in Victoria or Sydney or wherever it might be? It'll be phenomenal for the game. The game's moved so much forward, in my opinion, in relation to off-ground situations. And that's the only way to really enhance this game and get it to a place where it can definitely, lead by example.
Yeah. Speaking of derbies, let's turn our attention to next weekend. All roads lead to Stead Park down in Geelong for the big Macedonian derby. It's a Geelong Soccer Club who are currently in 6th position, and they host you guys. Now, obviously, sister clubs and all of that off the field, best of friends. But on the park, it's going to be no love lost. In fact, when these two teams last met, I think it was a playoff to win the State 1 championship 2 or 3 years ago. And Geelong prevailed on that occasion. So there's a few scores to settle, old scores to settle. But expecting a massive a number of the Preston Lions Army to travel down the highway to Geelong on Saturday night.
Yeah, look, as you said, we've got a great relationship with Geelong. A lot of friends, a lot of family. We know each other really well off the ground in respect to committees and the people that are involved at the club. Playing terms on the ground, the ladder goes out the window when you play a derby game. So, I'm going out there as a club, meaning preparing to try and get 3 points next week against Geelong. And I guarantee they'll be doing the same thing. So, at the end of the day, it's going to be a really good battle. It's going to be a tough battle. And as I always put it, long as the best team on the day wins the game, it's going to be a great spectacle. And the Preston supporters, they do travel. So I'll be surprised if anything less than 1,500 or 2,000 people again at the game this weekend.
And gents, we all know what the atmosphere can be like down at Stead Park when the crowd is pulsating at the seams. This should be a good one. Steve, next.
I guess, Lou, with the team doing so well, have you had to change the message that you've been giving to the squad with you guys sitting as the runaway leader on top of the league just throughout the course of the season from how things were at the start of the year?
Look, Steve, it's a great question, but if I'm being honest, the message hasn't changed from the first day of pre-season. We spoke about, just giving our best and preparing in the right manner, making sure everybody's ready. And that's every game. We take it a week-by-week proposition or game-by-game proposition, and all we want to do is we're just prepared to get that 3 points for that next game. So that's all we care about. I said to the boys, if we prepare in that manner, do what we can in our power to make sure we're ready for that game and give 100% on the game day, 9 times out of 10, you'll get the 3 points. So, when you're doing that, then the ladder doesn't lie. It's reality. It's fact. You put the effort in, do the right things. You try and score more goals than opposition, you get the 3 points.
Lou, last question from me before we let you get back to your TV. I'm a proud Welshman, so everybody knows that. Want to talk?
Do we ever?
Do you know him well, Steve? Yeah, no. You've got
it's news to me.
A parochial Welsh player that's come back to the club this year in Chris Davis. Obviously, he's a peripheral goal scorer as well. He's currently on 6 goals for the season. What was the reason, I suppose, for bringing Chris back into the fold there at Preston?
Look, it's pretty much you just you answered the question.
The goals,
Look, it's very hard to find a prolific goal scorer, someone that's proven that can go out there, mature, do the job come the weekend, and Chris is exactly that. He's 30 years of age. He had a good turn at Preston, a few years back. He moved on for a couple of years, and then we spoke pre-season and look at a line, basically, what we were looking for, what he was looking for, and can we get this relationship back to bigger and better things than where it was previously? And Chris wanted to be at the club. we wanted Chris back at the club, and as I just said, so he's scored 6 goals currently. The last few weeks I've been playing him in a wing position, so not his most favoured role in relation out of the wing, but he's been doing a really good job. He's scored a couple of goals and assisting in goals, so he's worked his butt out, to be honest. This whole period that we've from pre-season, so he's been a really good signing for us.
Yeah, but you look at the rest of the squad, and they're all chipping in with goals. You've got Terence Carter with 3, and Lockie Roos with 3, and Alex Yevo with 3. So it's not just Chris that's coming in with the goals. That the whole team seem to be putting the ball in the back of the net, which is obviously a massive plus for the club.
Yeah, that's the way when we're looking at recruitment. The way we want to play, we don't want to just rely on our so-called number 9 just scoring the goals and hopefully trying to win the championship for us or win the game. So if we can get numerous people scoring their bits and our wingers scoring 3, 4, 5, 6 goals a year, our number 10s, our attacking midfielders scoring their 3, 4 goals, and then your strikers scoring their 7, 8 to 10 goals, you're on the right path, and that normally leads to success during the season. So. That definitely has been a good collective. I think Karl Brucevic, our left back, through FFA Cup and league games, I think he's scored 5 goals so far this season as a left back. So, it's definitely a great sign.
Brilliant. Well, listen, I think all 3 of us have really been looking forward to seeing your results and seeing how well you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've been saying every week that we must all 3 of us must come up to one of the games. So. I'm sure over the next couple of weeks, Friday night game we'll get up to Jenna Stadium there and see it in person. I think because I'd love to see you guys playing in front of 3,000. So hopefully we'll catch up with you in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, please do. And not just you guys, but all your listeners come down to a game on a Friday night. It's a great atmosphere, great environment, and we just want everybody to be a part of it. So, and again, thank you very much appreciated.
Good on you, Louie Acevski,
Thanks,
the
Lou.
senior men's coach at Preston Lions. Great to have Lou on, and that's going to be a fantastic game Saturday night, folks, down at Stead Park. A nice compact stadium, offers a beautiful social club, and fantastic lights. And when those lights are on, and the lights will be on at 5:30 p.m. next Saturday evening for the kickoff of the big Macedonian derby. Steve, I guess we've looked at Preston and Christopher Davies, Craig's friend, who scored 6 goals, the leading goal scorer there. But Geelong, on the other hand, they've really spread out their goal scorers. I mean, they've got something like, Dominic Swinton has got 3 goals, and then you've got Alan Garez, Anthony Trajkowski, Jacob Butler, the ex-New Zealand international. They've all scored 2 goals. So they've really spread it around, and there doesn't seem to be one real spearhead. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for Geelong going into this big battle against the other lines from Preston?
Yeah, look, I think it's something that both clubs they've both shared around the goal scoring, which is only a bonus. As we were saying before, we're saying you take Alan Webb out of the Melbourne Knights and suddenly you might have a bit of a problem. It's the same thing if you've got a number of goal scorers. It can only help. So I can't wait to hear how this game goes. I think it's going to be a beauty, and they're going to sell a lot of Kabapi rolls. But I think what we need to work on, if anyone's got a bus, can we get a bus to take up to BT Connor for one of their home games, maybe a football out west charter? Yeah,
great idea. Let's go through the fixtures for NPL 3, which is round 10 next weekend. And as you said, Steve, the halfway mark is fast approaching. Craig, let's have a look. First of all, Ballarat City on Saturday taking on Springvale White Eagles. And if we just move our little overlays there, we can actually see it's the battle of the cellar dwellers. They say call them 6-pointer games. This one's a real 6-pointer game, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Ballarat are struggling. Obviously, Lou's just said there, I think they're 5-0 down, he said, to Melbourne City. So that's not going to do them any favours. So next week is a massive game for them. But you're saying that you're only 2 wins away from being in 8th position, or 9th position. So it's the same as Stu was saying for NPL 2. 1 or 2 wins and the league becomes very, very different. Ballarat will be certainly looking for home. Obviously, they've got home advantage. They're certainly looking for the big 3 points there that could ignite their season.
Yeah. Steve, Whittlesea Rangers hosting Nunawading City. That's also on Saturday, 3 o'clock at Epping Stadium. Big game for both those teams as well. But Whittlesea Rangers certainly need a win if they are wanting to escape that relegation zone.
Yeah, I think City for me in that one. Also on Saturday at 3:15, Box Hill United hosting Doveton. And as we mentioned, Geelong and Preston at 5:30. And on Sunday, Melbourne City NPL against Melbourne Victory's NPL side. So a bit of a Melbourne derby at NPL level.
The A-League NPL derby, yes. And we also, speaking of A-League clubs, Western United are also playing North Sunshine Eagles. Obviously, Western United are not playing any games at home because they don't have a home.
That'll be at Larissa Reserve.
That will be at Larissa Reserve. Even though it's at Larissa Reserve, that's a key one there because you'd expect Western United to easily defeat North Sunshine Eagles. And but having said that, at Larissa Reserve, Craig, North Sunshine Eagles need a big win. Is an upset on the cards or highly unlikely?
No, I don't think so. I think Western United are good value for where they are at the moment. They're probably, as I said, the ones that are putting pressure on Preston Lions at the top.
Yeah.
Obviously, Melbourne City with their 3 points tonight will be on the same number of points as Western United. So it's the top three are away, I think, and it would be a tough ask for North Sunshine, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gents. Well, that, I guess all roads lead to Stead Park. But we're going to now take a short break, folks. Man vs. Fat is a great weight loss program. And that's happening in Geelong at the Leisure Time Sports Complex. The new season kicks off this Wednesday night. Here's a little bit of a promo. And if you are interested, there's the details on the end to join in. Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's all about the coaches today, but now, or has been up until now, but now we're going to actually bring a member of the playing staff on board. And Steve, Steve just caught you off guard there. We've got our next guest, Craig. Would you like to introduce our next guest, mate?
Yes, gives me great pleasure to welcome the club captain of Green Gully, Mr. Jeremy Walker. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me on, Harry. Cheers.
No problem at all. Thanks for giving up your time on a Sunday evening.
No worries at all.
Tonci.
Jeremy, thank you for joining us here. We've just had coaches on tonight, so it's good to now have an actual player. And you're one of those players. Now we would let's go through the season so far. It's been a kind of a topsy-turvy season for Green Gully. Things seem to be going a little bit kind of in patches, I suppose is the best way to describe it. How would you, as we're approaching the halfway mark of the season now, as captain of the team, how would you assess where the guys are at the moment?
Yeah, I think a bit patchy, as you mentioned, but only patchy really based on results. We've had some really good performances across the year, as you said, halfway mark. So really positive in terms of the way we're playing the game. So we're just trying to turn those into results now, which I guess has been second half performances for the majority of the year for us. But we're in a good place. We just need to fine tune a few things. Keeping clean sheets is going to be a big focus for us moving forward. But I think the topsy-turvy nature of our season only comes from results, which I guess is the basis of what we should be aiming at anyway. But we're pretty happy with the way we're playing with the footy. We just need to fine-tune a couple of things.
Now, on Friday night, we had Alex Salmon and Melvin Beckett score one apiece in the 2-2 draw against Dandenong Thunder. Give us a bit of a summary of that game in your eyes.
Well, again, we play some decent footy. Mel's done really well to come on and score his first goal for us in a league match, I believe. I don't know. We're 2-0 up at half time. 2-0 up 50 minutes in. So we need to figure out a way to see those games out. But we're creating lots of chances and actually opening teams up really well. We're just copying a couple of mistakes from our point of view and not shutting out games as well as we should be.
Jez, thanks again for joining us. It's Steve here. And I just have to go out there and say, Jez, you are one of my favourite players in the NPL because of that time back in 2019, my first season commentating. Both yourself and Andy Brennan were out injured and came and offered me some hot food on a very cold night on the hill there at Green Gully Reserve. So haven't forgotten that one at all, mate.
Trying to make the most of the enjoyment when you're not on the pitch, however you can, I guess. But
that's exactly right. That's exactly right, mate. Now, how's the season going for you on a personal note? We've seen you have to deputise in central defence when we saw Daniel Jones going down, just showing your versatility again. How's everything going for you on a personal note?
Not too bad. I enjoy a new challenge and playing centre-back, something I've done before. Allows me to coach a little bit more from on the field, frees me up a little bit on that sense. See the game a little bit easier and can try and dictate from the back a little bit more so than right back. I guess right back you're often at the mercy of what happens beforehand before it gets to you. So, and also only one side of the pitch you can make a difference on. So that's been interesting and challenging. The leadership stuff for me has been more of a interesting challenge to try and get everyone continually motivated and working hard as a group to not get too set back with results and to try and focus on some performances and things that we can do to try and improve the second half of the year.
Yeah,
that's probably been the nicest and most challenging part.
Yeah, and just on that, Jez, obviously injuries have played a big part to probably the reason why maybe you have conceded a lot of goals. If you just look at the last 5 games, I think 11 goals you've conceded. You've scored 9. Yeah. Obviously, Daniel was out, Jordan Hall's out. How much of a big impact does that have when you have your two of your big players in that back line missing?
It's massive. I think just continuity. We had 4 or 5 games at the start of the year with a very similar lineup each week, and as soon as one of those players falls away, it's I guess filling in a gap, and someone has to move around, and you're like myself depleted in one area, and you move someone from midfield to right back, and they're depleted in their own performance. So we've had a big year of filling in gaps and trying to help the team. But that's nothing that we shouldn't be able to manage on an individual level to help the team. But it has been a bit of a setback for sure.
Now, mate, we're turning our attention to this weekend. It's probably the closest derby, geographically speaking, in the whole NPL competition. But you come up against next-door neighbours, St Albans Saints at Green Gully Reserve. That game kicks off at 8 p.m. on Friday night. Look, to say that it's a must-win game for St Albans is an understatement. But they are 6 points behind you guys. At the same time, even though, I guess if we bring that ladder back up, even though you're not in the relegation zone, so to speak, it's still nonetheless something that you do want to start avoiding. How important are these games, or how much more significant do these derbies take on, preparing for this game? What's the mood going to be like on the training track this week? Sorry.
We've worked really hard to not to worry too much about below us. We've known that in the last few weeks we're competing against teams that are in and around the level that we're at the moment, so they're all must-win games. I guess a 6-pointer for St Albans this week if we don't show up. So we're just focusing on working hard and trying to address a couple of things in-house to make sure that we put a performance on and get a result at the end of the game as well. But we're definitely not worrying about that relegation side of things, and we're just looking up for things that we can focus on moving forward.
Jez, what's it like working with Steve Downs? It seems like he's a coach who likes to play a high possession game, maybe more so than some of the other squads in NPL Victoria.
Yeah, for sure. And he's brought players in to do that. And we all enjoy getting on the ball and moving it around. As I mentioned, I think we're saying the same thing. Doesn't really matter too much if we're moving around. We've adapted a little bit to be a bit more direct, given personnel and changes. But yeah, we definitely enjoy having the ball for the majority of the game.
Now, talking about having the ball and moving the ball around, the last time myself and Steve were there was for the Melbourne Knights game, I think, Steve, where we did the commentary for NPL Victoria. How good is that pitch at Green Gully Reserve at the moment? Because that night we were there, it was fantastic. It's the best I think I've. Hey, it's superb to play football on. So hopefully me and Steve will be there on this Friday night to do the commentary again. So certainly I'll be looking forward to you bringing over Shavapi and her before the game.
He's playing the game this week though, Craig.
What's that, Steve?
He's playing the game this week, so he might not be able to.
So somebody will be able to bring one over for us.
I'll bring it over at half time for you.
Brilliant, mate.
Now what's going on? You guys, when you get there, you guys are like treated like royalty. You have Vladimir Zetovic carrying your bags. You have the Green Gully players bringing you food and drinks. Jeez, what am I missing out on?
Vladimir actually bought us a coffee on Friday.
Yeah. And last time at Gully, Lockie Wee's mum brought us a hot chocolate as well.
She did, yeah.
Oh, there you go. What can we expect this weekend? Jez, I mean, apart from the hospitality, what can we expect? Who do you think's going to most fire from you guys? One person. And who do you need to most keep an eye on from the opposition?
I think you almost use the Thunder fans, which will be entertaining again. That'll be worth keeping an eye on.
Who's that? Sorry, you broke up a little bit there, mate. Who was that?
Sorry, mate. The fans of St Albans will be worth keeping an eye on. That might be but from our point of view, I think Salmon would be nice to get another goal or a couple of goals from Salmon again. Yeah. That's what we're focused on, getting him as confident as we can. Getting lots of deliveries into the box for him would be a focus for us.
Brilliant.
Well, mate, you've got a couple of big games coming up, St Albans on Friday and then the following week with Hume, 2 wins, and you're back in the fight. So from everybody here at the Football Out West, wish you all the very best on Friday evening. Hopefully myself and Steve will be there, and hopefully we can get you the win, mate. That'll be nice.
Yeah, awesome. We'd appreciate that for sure.
All right, buddy. Thanks for joining us this evening, and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Have a good night, and thank you for having me on.
Good on you, thanks, Jeremy Walker, the team captain, the senior team captain there for Green Gully. Very, very nice fella, but I'm sure Maxi Santich, amongst other people who are tuning in, Jason Zeri and whoever else, they will not be agreeing with you, Craig. But nonetheless, we hope for a fantastic game. And gents, we haven't even finished this weekend, or we're at the end of this weekend, the tail end. We're already looking forward to next week. How good is this NPL? I'm telling you, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Friday night football is.
Don't speak so at the same time.
It speaks for itself, Tonci. You've seen the highlights, you've seen the goals that are being scored, and the times in the games and the drama. It's been fantastic.
Well, we talked about that game, didn't we? The Melbourne Knights game the other night, Steve, and to get a finish like we did with the goal that Eastern Lions scored. Again, I'll say it, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, go and look at it on the NPL NPL victorious side, and just what a striking. We've been very lucky, myself and Steve, to see some great finishes to games this season.
That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
I think every game that we've called, Craig, there's just about been injury time, decisive goals in injury time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is,
All right, guys,
what are the
let's-
chances of that happening so consistently?
Yeah. All right. Let's turn our attention to State League One. Craig, you were at the George Cross game today. We've got a little bit of footage. Thanks to you, by the way. Tell us a little bit more about the game that went on today.
Yeah, look, it was a tough game for Georgies today against Whittlesea United on a very, very good but very, very hard and fast pitch. It was end to end, both teams having opportunities. But I suppose George's probably had the best opportunities for that, and missing a penalty as well, which, really hurt them in the end, Tonci. They should have, if that had gone in, they'd have been away and got the win. But look, difficult. It was a difficult place for them to go. They performed very well. They just couldn't get the 3 points. And I suppose from a coach's point of view, it's I'd probably say it's 3 points lost than one gain, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's all go through the results of round 9 in the State League One competition, a league that has got so much banking on it for obvious reasons, qualification into the NPL. But Steve, it all started on Friday night at Cross Keys Reserve when Essendon Royals took on Banyule City.
That's right. It all began there and within the grounds of the infamous Moonee Valley Shire there, and it was Essendon Royals 3-1 winners over Banyule City, and then moving on to Saturday at Club Italia, Brimbank Stallions 4-0 winners over what was a hapless FC Clifton Hill. Corio lost at home to Sydenham Park, 1-0. Yarraville bounced back with a 1-0 win over Fitzroy City at Mackay Reserve. At Keilor Park Recreation Reserve, the spoils were shared between Keilor Park and Altona City. It was 1-1. And then, of course, that game that you mentioned that you're at today, Craig, Whittlesea and Caroline Springs, George Cross.
Yeah, look, I think for me, I say the shock, it's not a shock, but the Essendon Royals obviously coming back from their defeat last week and defeating Banyule. Banyule City, guys, were a lot of people's favourites to be promoted this year, and certainly they're struggling. If you look at the ladder, and
we've got an updated ladder, by the way. There, that doesn't count the Caroline Springs game, but it did count one of the other results that hadn't come through at the time.
But yeah, Banyule City, they're sitting on the bottom of the ladder, which is probably unexpected from a lot of people within the State League One fraternity.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, Caroline Springs now have opened up a 3-point lead at the top, plus 7 goal difference. But having said that, it's still not home and hosed who's going to get up there. Anything can happen, and we've seen with some of the other results in some of the other divisions. A couple of Brunswick City and NPL 2, great example. 2 draws in the last 2 weeks, and then from potentially running away with the league, they're now back to being some of the teams snapping at their heels.
Yeah, it's I think every league is tough now, Tonci. Everybody, said earlier on, the hunters the hunted become the hunters, or the other way around, whichever way that is. I've had 2 beers now and it's late, and
and then it's Sunday night.
The hunted becomes the hunter.
That's the word.
Steve, heaven help us. If he has a third beer, he's going to start talking Welsh. There is no way we're going to understand him.
I never picked him as a 2-pot screamer, but who knows?
Age
does this certain things to you, isn't that right?
Yeah, well, that's right. I can already feel that too.
Let's turn out.
It's we look at George Cross last week defeated Essendon and get held to Whittlesea United. So I think every game's a tough one, and it's who can get those valuable 3 points.
Well, turning our attention to next week and look, some important games, some big games. And I'll tell you what, with Santino Mamone representing Corio in the comments section, and Mark Sultana, the president of George Cross, those two sides are going to meet next Saturday evening at City Vista. Caroline Springs taking on Corio. Corio little bit wounded after conceding a 95th minute goal against Sydenham Park at home, so they'll be keen to atone for that. But it starts on with Brimbank Stallions, Steve, hosting Fitzroy City, a game that you'd expect the Stallions to win at Club Italia there in Brimbank. But, a win there will really put the pressure on Caroline Springs, won't it?
Yeah, I think so. And they'll be looking to boost their goal difference of +8 that they have at the moment there, I think, in that particular fixture at home, the Brimbank Stallions. Yep. We'll run through the rest of them for you. Sydenham Park, they're at home at Keilor Lodge Reserve against Yarraville. So 2 teams there sitting in around 4th and 5th. So that should be pretty even encounter. FC Clifton Hill, they're hosting Keilor Park at Quarries Park. They're in Clifton Hill, while Banyule City will host Whittlesea United at Yallambee Park Reserve. And the big blockbuster, as you mentioned there, Tonci, at 5 p.m. at City Vista, Caroline Springs, George Cross against Corio, the main man from Geelong West, Santino Mamone. He's already booked his ticket in advance for that one. And an hour later, Altona City and Essendon Royals at 6 p.m. at Kim Reserve.
Now, let's turn our attention finally to State League 2, where there's a little bit of news happening there. But let's look at the results that happened there. Craig, we'll first of all go through some of the results that we have. I guess Lalor United took on Westgate at HR Urin Reserve, and Westgate defeated Lalor United 3-0. So Westgate are now slipping comfortably into 3rd spot and certainly eyeing off the top 2 positions there. Interesting times ahead in State League 2.
Yeah. Obviously, Goran Lozanovsky's gone in there a couple of weeks ago as the new head coach, and has obviously organised and structured them well, and that's a good win there for them against Lalor United. Other results: FC Strathmore seem to go from strength to strength, beating Geelong Rangers 3-0 at home. Mill Park. Kevin Thurmer's Mill Park and Albion Rovers sharing the points, and I believe today, Tonci, that an announcement has come from Albion Rovers saying that they've parted ways with their head coach Chris Gritchen.
Yes, that's right. Now, Corio Soccer Club people will be familiar with Chris. He was a coach down there for a while, and quite a successful coach. And there's the actual official statement. The club would like to thank Chris for his outstanding work during his time at the Rovers, including during a difficult pandemic, and wish him all the success in the future. There can never be a good time to part ways, but after lengthy deliberation and consideration, it was decided that departure will give the club time to improve performances and results this season. The club will now start a thorough recruitment process for a new coach and will make announcements shortly. Steve, your take on that?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about what goes on at Albion Rovers, so... Yeah, obviously it hasn't gone to plan. We'll say that if it's a mid-season departure. So, yeah, that match ending 1-1. So, don't know. It wasn't on the back of a loss or anything.
No, that's quite unusual, isn't it? I mean, it was a draw.
You got any intel? Any intel there, guys?
I don't, but maybe the man, the Ray man, would know. He's the one that also broke the news earlier this evening and sent us that information. But if anyone does know, that would be interesting. Kevin Thuma, the coach of the opposing Mill Park.
Kev was the coach at Albion before Chris, so
he might have some interesting information there. Hume United thumped Epping City 6-2. So Hume United, not only have they, solidified 2nd spot, but they've also improved on their goal difference by +4. So they will certainly need to improve on their goal difference, because Westgate below them are +13 and Strathmore above them are +17, and at the moment with +9. It's not a hugely what's the best way? Hugely superior goal difference. It's not. In fact, it's inferior. But Craig, they are a bit of a danger, aren't they? Hume United.
Yeah, look, I think that the whole league is again, Tonci. If you look at 2nd place, Hume on 19 points, and you've got Mill Park down there on 7th, just 2 wins away from 2nd. So, Albion Rovers down there on 8th. At 8th place with 12 points. So. Again, 1 or 2 wins, 1 or 2 slip-ups, and everybody's everybody can get back in the race. But Hume is certainly there. Strathmore have gone from strength to strength, and they've signed ex-Geelong, George Cross and Melbourne Knights player Mario Zivkovic this week on for Strathmore. So they certainly add in quality.
Good signing.
Yeah,
definitely a good signing. And you know, I'll throw in Brendan Santalab, who's an ex-A-League player, into that mix, and they've got a couple of very, very high-profile players there. Strathmore looking very good. They got promoted from State 3 last year, or the year before. So they are indeed looking very, very good, and that's another division that is has a lot of interest. And Hoppers Crossing also, they had a big win, 5-1 against Moreland United, and they're slowly moving up the ladder as well. And we've got some big news to announce about Hoppers Crossing in coming weeks. But gents, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's show. Geez, it was a good show, wasn't it?
It was, yes. Always nice to get some good caliber of guests on, and you know, each week we seem to be able to get some really good people on. So thanks to Stu, to Lou, and to Jeremy for giving up the Sunday evenings, and hopefully we'll be bringing you some more big guests next week.
All right, then. Well, gents, Steve, once again, thank you very, very, very much for joining us again. We really appreciate that. We look forward to seeing you and Craig in action on Friday night, calling the game between Green Gully and St Albans. In the meantime, we will see you tomorrow night for the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Should be a very, very good one. Now, we've got Pete Bradley joining us from Western United, and they launched a very it's a fantastic program called Frame Football, and that was launched at the Leisure Time Centre yesterday, and we'll have some footage of that as well. And he will be also, amongst other things, chatting to us a little bit about the upcoming Victorian Country Junior Championships, which he's heavily involved in through his his little business on the side, I suppose. But that'll be really good. Looking forward to that. Craig, big week ahead with your North Geelong. The under-19's doing really well.
Yeah, we are, Tonci. We had a bit of a hiccup last week down at Kingston, but the boys bounced back really well this week, defeating Brunswick, who were the only undefeated side in the league. We beat them 4-0 home to cement our place there at the top of the league. So the boys are performing admirably at the moment and working very, very hard to improve each week through training and obviously bringing it into the games.
Gents, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on the Football Out West show. It was episode 59. Remember, we need your support. We need your help. Become a member of the Football Out West show. The website is www.patreon. That's patreon.com/Football Out West. Thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. We look forward to having your company next Sunday at 7 p.m. Good night.